most presentations that's so, what's the word, bad. Generally speaking, presentations are pretty terrible. Most of your audiences are left feeling bewildered as to why on earth they're here at all. And there's even a term for it. We call it death by PowerPoint. When was the last time you had death by something and thought it was a good idea to keep going? And yet, inevitably, most people do it. Now, one of the reasons you get death by PowerPoint is because people try to put up everything they want to say on the slide. That's fine if you're reading a document, but the problem is when you get into the cognitive psychology, the way that people are actually processing the information, if you're reading something, that's processed in an area of the brain called the phonological loop. That is the auditory processing center. And so when you're listening to someone speaking, you're also processing that information in the phonological loop. So both of those things are fine. You can listen to someone speak and you can read a book. But if you put up lots of text on a slide in a presentation or in a piece of e-learning that's narrated, and there's someone talking at the same time, now you get an interference effect of those two things trying to compete with each other. And that's one of the reasons why presentations are actually pretty boring, because people put up lots of text and it's really difficult for people to engage. Now, of course, we all know that. Anecdotally, you've all experienced death by PowerPoint, and yet still everybody does it, largely because they don't know what else to do. And if you do put up lots of text and bullet points on your slide, well, this happens. And because of this, you get that. So now you've read the screen, you just want to move on. You don't want to listen to me talk about it some more. But again, inevitably, the presenter will desperately try to add some value to what's going on. That means that one or two things is going to happen. Either your audience is going to ignore you, which isn't ideal, or you're going to become really irritating, which nobody wants. The answer, as is perhaps obvious from what I'm showing here, is to get rid of text and bullet points and instead use visuals and diagrams and animations that explain and reinforce your messages. Critically, if you can synchronize those visuals up with what the presenter is saying, then the audience experiences something called dual coding of information, where you can take on board the visual stream and the audio stream, and the whole thing works together in a wonderful, magical way to both engage people, as we said, but also ensure that they remember the content much more vividly and for longer than they would do otherwise. Which means that when they actually come to use the information that you've trained them on, they will remember it and they'll use it effectively.